Welcome to Hey, It's Carly Rae's Book Club. This is Book Hour, where authors will talk their latest novels, reveal their writing process, and play some fun book games. I'm your host, Carly Rae. Today, we have New York Times bestselling author Craig Carlson, who did the impossible and opened up the first ever American diner in Paris. We're going to be talking about his follow-up book to Pancakes in Paris, Let Them Eat Pancakes. Find out if he has a favorite chapter, if owning a business in Paris is everything he imagined, as well as if he has a favorite meal on his own menu, and discover how his diner became the place in the world where Americans can celebrate Thanksgiving abroad. Plus, we're going to play a game to see if Craig is smarter than a fifth grader. We'll dive in right after this. Hello, Craig. Tell us where you're joining us from.
Hello, as we say, bonsoir from Paris.
And you have a special guest with you today.
Yes, this is my husband, Julian, who is French.
Hi, everyone.
But he speaks beautiful English thanks to me.
I'm very excited to have you both joining us from the City Lights and Love, and you're joining us from your diner, correct?
Yes, this is called Breakfast in America. We have two of them. And this one is in the Marais section of Paris, for those who know Paris, which is very central. It's close to not far from the City Hall and St. Paul Church. And so for those who know Paris, we're pretty central.
And how are you guys holding up with the COVID over there?
Oh, as you can imagine, it's been a challenge. As of a week ago, a little more than a week ago, there's been a second lockdown. And so everyone has to be in their apartments. They can go out to exercise or go grocery shopping or something, other important things. We have to have a piece of paper and all this. But we decided, because we also had a confinement before the first time, before the second wave, and we decided to open up for takeout. And so this all day today, we were doing takeout burgers and breakfasts and pancakes with most of our regular customers and some new customers as well. And so, but it's been tough, as you can imagine. Yeah.
Now, your second book, Let Them Eat Pancakes, dives deeper into your story of opening a diner in Paris. Here's a close-up of the cover. Now, according to Pegasus Books, it is a collection of the challenges and joy of working, eating, and loving in France. Tell viewers about Let Them Eat Pancakes and why they need to get their copy.
Well, I think what I think is wonderful about this book, hopefully, is it transports you to France. And right now, everyone knows it's very hard to travel, and particularly international travel, right? Because now we're not allowed to go to Europe and from America. So I think anyone who loves France, who wants to go to France, and loves good, humorous, funny stories, human stories, I think will like this book because like you said, it talks about loving and eating and all these things we really love in this book. It's a collection of stories that I think people will hopefully cheer up their day and get them to travel virtually, an armchair traveler, if you will. Yeah.
Well, one thing readers may not realize before reading Let Them Eat Pancakes is there is humor in this novel in the form of the Pigeon Man. Was having someone outside the diner feeding hundreds of pigeons the first time that's ever happened? Without giving away too many spoilers, tell us about that comical story you write about.
Oh, yes. We just moved into this area of the Marais, and we're so excited. And all of a sudden, this old man moves in, pulls his van in front of our place, and starts feeding pigeons one day. And he just continued to do that day after day. He had a routine. He would come in the morning, he would come in the afternoon, and the evening, 3 times a day, and just scatter birdseed all over. And before you know it, there were hundreds and hundreds of pigeons everywhere, all over our ledges, all over the place. And you can imagine there was merde, which is the French word for, as you can imagine, for poo, everywhere. And so we decided we have to try to do something because this man also he also fed pigeons over by this museum with this big area where it didn't bother so many people, right? And so we tried to convince him to go over there and just do it there because he was ruining our lives with all the pigeons. And he just wouldn't do it. He was stubborn. So we got on this crusade to try to see if there was a way we could get the city to move him somewhere else so he wasn't bothering residents of Paris. And because all our neighbors and everything, we started signing petitions and everything. But France, being what it is very bureaucratic and everything. It was impossible to get rid of the pigeon man. I won't tell you more than that, but there's lots of funny stories about him and how he just kind of turned our world upside down. So.
Yeah. Well, Julian, there's also a humorous part of this novel involving your mother and Craig's hunt for snails. Tell us about that. Did you help write that part of the book?
Sure. Well, yes, because, snail hunting is something in France, and Craig, as an American, never experienced it before. So when he saw my mom starting the hunt, he was just like, what's happening? What is it? What is she doing right now? So I had to provide all, actually, the cultural info for him to understand this is snail hunting season. There's a season for that. And this is how we do it.
And you can only take certain size. You can't take too small. They have to be at least, like a 2.5 inches big. And you have a limit. And it was just pretty amazing because I don't know if you've had escargot. It's a French specialty, and a lot of people have just the idea of eating snails. And I was like that when I first moved to France, but boy, you really get to love them after a while because they have garlic butter and they're just cooked so juicy. And if you forget that they're a mollusk, you'll really love them. And so in the end, his mom that particular day ended up collecting over 200 snails, which we then smuggled into America so that my mother-in-law could make a beautiful dinner for our friends and family. And it was a way of introducing them to my new husband and mother-in-law.
So as you can see, he learned his lesson.
Now, one question you get all the time is why an American diner in Paris? Well, here we have an exclusive video where you tell us why.
Why an American diner in Paris? There are 3 reasons. First, I love breakfast. It's my favorite food, my favorite meal. Number 2, I'm a Francophile. I totally love France. I studied here when I was a student for a whole year. And number 3, I used to work in Hollywood. And because I spoke French, they sent me to Paris to work on an international TV show. And for a whole year, every morning, the breakfast was the same. It was a croissant, pain au chocolat, a baguette. I love those once in a while, but oh my God, I was craving an American breakfast. So when the show ended, I went back home to LA and I ordered this big breakfast. It was scrambled eggs, ham steak, hash browns. And the minute my breakfast arrived, I looked at it and said, oh my God, this is the one thing I missed when I was in France. And I just looked at it again. I found myself saying it again. Oh my God, the one thing I missed in France. And just like that, the idea hit me. I'm going to open a diner in Paris.
Now, Craig, is that how it happened? Did you have this aha moment of knowing I'm going to do the impossible and open up an American diner in Paris, France, even though you had 0 restaurant experience and French wasn't your first language?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was the definition of an aha moment. I just could see it so clearly. And even though, like you said, I had no restaurant experience, I never owned my own business. And here I was going to do it in a foreign country, foreign language. It happens to be the food capital of the world, right? Excuse me. And so, I could just see it so clearly. I knew the name. It came to my head just like that. If you speak to people who fulfilled their crazy dreams, they'll say they had this moment that's just so clear. And then after that, you become obsessed with it. And that's what this was like for me. I just could see it in my brain. I could imagine the customers, and you saw some images inside the diner. That's how I just imagined what my dream would be. And so, yeah, it was one of these life-changing moments that don't come along too often, but when they do, they're amazing.
Yeah. Well, was there one chapter in your new book that was your favorite to write?
That's a really good question. I would think that actually I have to say 2. One of them was called Love is Not a Lock, and it involved Julian. And because in Paris, I don't know if you heard, there was a time when people were putting padlocks on all the bridges of Paris to symbolize their love, and then they would throw away the key into the Seine. Well, that's beautiful and romantic, but the problem was, before you knew it, there were thousands and thousands of locks on these bridges. And so they started falling apart. The bridges, the panels would fall right into the river. They almost hit the people on boats. And so the city said, we have to stop this. This is getting too much. So, I use that, the story of the love locks to explore the difference between how France and America sees love, romantic love, especially how I met Julian. And I think the other chapter that I love is called Mom Eats a Burger. And it's about my 86-year-old neighbor who had survived World War II. She was a great feminist during the 1970s. She did so many wonderful things, but she had never had a burger in her life. And she decided at 86 years old, let's do it. Let's go have a burger. And she came to my diner and just hilarity ensues. So I think those two were my favorite.
Now, Julian, do you have a favorite chapter?
I do, actually. I like the one about Thanksgiving, because we don't have Thanksgiving in France, so it was hard for me to understand what it was about at first. But thanks to him, I get to know, the spirit of it, which is, get together, spend the time together, enjoy a meal together. And I really like, actually, Thanksgiving more than Christmas, because I think Christmas is a little commercial now. Thanksgiving is not, as far as I'm concerned. So I like it. I wish we had Thanksgiving in France, actually.
We kind of do here.
We do. That's true.
Exactly. The diner we do.
Yeah.
Well, in crafting Let Them Eat Pancakes, Craig, did you write an extensive outline before actually sitting and writing the novel? Was Julian your in-house editor?
Well, first, I did extensive outlining because I have a background in film. I went to the USC Film School, and I wrote a lot of screenplays. And I found that outlining really saved my life, right? Because when you get into a story, you can start off great and you hit it running, and suddenly you sort of hit this space where, oh no, where do I go next? And sometimes you're in a corner, sometimes you're a bit lost because it can go in so many different directions. So I did quite an extensive outline with a chapter outline as well. But even then, I let myself have a lot of freedom to go beyond the outline because I didn't want to be constrained by it. This was just to lead me along. And so in the end, a lot of chapters switched around. I added chapters and got rid of some chapters. But overall, the arc of the story fits to the outline. And Julian, I wouldn't say he was necessarily my editor, but I have a great writers group here in Paris. And so I recommend anyone who's writing to go take part in a writers group. And I would come back after I would finish a chapter. I'd read it to Julian to see what he thought, and if he laughed or if he, was confused, he really, really helped me with that, and especially with the French stuff, because culturally, there were just things I couldn't understand in France. Like, why do they do these things this way? And he would help me understand it. Yeah. So that was where he really, really helped in the book, and he becomes a source in the book, sort of the entryway into the French way of thinking. He helps me and the reader see how the French think about certain cultural issues and things.
Yeah. Well, you heard Craig and Julian talk about Let Them Eat Pancakes. We'll be right back after watching this exclusive video of Breakfast in America.
Voilà, monsieur.
I forgot you guys voted this week, today.
Sorry. County, c'est bon.
Welcome back to Book Hour. I'm your host, Carly Rae, here with New York Times bestselling author Craig Carlson and his special guest, his husband, Julian. Now, one of my favorite parts of Let Them Eat Pancakes was reading how different owning a business is in Paris than owning a business is in America. Craig, what surprised you the most after opening up your diner, Breakfast in America?
I think what you mentioned is I think all the laws and the complex labor laws here. One thing that really surprised me is that it's virtually impossible to fire an employee. My very first employee started off okay. He got through his trial period, because in France every employee has a trial period, and then suddenly his behavior changed. And I found out that what happens often is after the trial period, it becomes a permanent lifetime contract, and it's virtually impossible to fire someone. And so his behavior changed. He was not so responsible. He was just had bad attitude. So I thought I could fire him. I let him know. I gave him a warning, and I said he kept continuing to do this, and I said, "You're gone." Boy, I did not know that I could not do that, and it turned into 2 years of a lawsuit that just went on, and he ended up winning. So I learned from there how complicated the French system is. But on the funny side, the other thing I learned is there are all these inspectors who come in and check on everything from the language in my menu, because I have to translate everything into French. They want to make sure that it's correctly translated. And so, for example, you can't call it a bagel; you have to call it, pain, british or pain, whatever, like a bread from some country. And so, all those funny things, I did not expect all of that.
Something else readers can expect while reading Let Them Eat Pancakes is we get to find out about the hiring process you face with your diner. Now, with not being able to fire an employee without going through a lot of red tape, how does that affect your hiring process? Is it you or Julian who deals with the employees?
Well, it's definitely Julian who deals more with the employees. Of course, I met Julian about a few years into the restaurant business, so I started doing it myself, and it almost gave me a heart attack. So that's one great advantage to having a French husband, because he took over that part. But it's definitely a challenge, because we have to be sure that the new employee is because there's a trial period for every employee in France, and if you make it past the trial period, of course, you can stay pretty much forever. So we want to make sure that we got a good employee, that they're not just being on their best behavior until the trial period ends, which is very difficult to judge sometimes, because some people be perfectly fine, and then after that 3 months, or you can extend it to 6 months, suddenly their behavior changes. But thankfully, Julian is there. He deals with employees much better than me. He sits and talks through them if they're having some problems. He can give them a little bit of a warning. We're not going to, renew this trial period if you don't, shape up. So thank God for you.
Now, is owning a diner everything you imagined, and was Julian always a part of the journey with you?
Yeah. So Julian, I opened my first diner in 2003, and then the second one in 2006. And we met just after the second one opened up. So he's been pretty much a part of it full-time since 2012, because he came to really help me. At one point, we had over 70 employees. You saw the line in that video. I mean, that was like every day it was like this for about 4 or 5 years during Obama's term, actually, because he was such a popular guy over here. People were like, "Oh, I want to go to America." And so they would come to our diner. And so Julian, he came in and became a very big part of the restaurant. So and now runs this second one. So there you go.
Now, not only is the food choice different in Paris than it is in America, but so is the eating style. Here's an exclusive video where Julian shows us how to eat a hamburger the French way.
Hello everybody, my name is Julian. Today we're going to see how a French person eats a burger. This is a cheeseburger. I'm going to add a little sauce next to it. Ketchup, no thanks, that's too sweet. What is this? Mustard? It's not real mustard. Well, it'll do. Add a little bit next to it, just like that. And then I'm going to use very important tools. Knife and fork. This is on the table for a reason. Just like that. Dip into the sauce. And there you go. Perfect. You're not going to grab your burger with your hands. Nope. I know it's hard, but we're civilized people after all, right? Bon appétit, everybody.
Now, Craig, do you eat a hamburger like that now?
Oh, that was the funniest thing. That was one thing I did not expect when I came to France, was to see my French customers almost like they were doing delicate surgery, cutting, like sometimes they'll unwrap the wrap and then like take little pieces with a knife and fork.
This is amazing to see. Even now, can you believe this? After all these years, they're still using the fork, and they actually unwrap a wrap.
Yeah.
So I'm asking them, what are we doing for you? We're wrapping the wrap for you.
But most of our customers have learned it's okay to grab it by your hands and just, bite into your burger. That's how you do it as an American. So, yeah, we've corrupted the French that way. Made it a little less refined.
Now, do you guys have a favorite thing on the menu?
Me personally, I love what's called the CC's Big Mess, which is my CC is after me, and it's a breakfast scramble with everything in it, pretty much but the kitchen sink. It's got the home fried potatoes and bacon and ham and sausage and cheddar cheese and onions and mushrooms and peppers, garlic, all mixed together, like a big mess. And what's yours, Julian?
And mine is actually avocado toast. That's my favorite. I love avocado toast and also veggie wrap. That's two different things, but I love the wrap.
Now, if you notice in that video of Julian eating a burger, it's actually a vegetarian burger because he doesn't eat meat. So if you look closely at it, you can go back and look. It's a vegetarian. Yeah.
Now, among the numerous things you're known for, Turkey Day is at the top of the list. Tell us about what you do for Turkey Day and how you became known as the place for Americans to go while traveling abroad during Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's great timing because here we are in the month of November. And we started that our second year, I believe. There was such demand from Americans living over in France who missed the Thanksgiving. And so we decided that one time a year, when we did an actual sit-down meal with reservations, we all get dressed up in nice costumes, like a very high-end restaurant with candlelight and the whole 9 yards. And it's become so popular that people start trying to reserve months and months in advance. And last year, we had 3 seatings, 50 customers each, and it's all 3 sold out like within weeks, or filled up rather. And so yeah, it's become, and some people will actually come over from England or from other parts of Europe to come to our diner for Thanksgiving. And but this year, unfortunately, with the confinement, we're not going to be able to have it inside. But Julian and I are going to have meals to go, the Thanksgiving plate to go, and people are very excited about that. So we're continuing the tradition, but just adapted to our times. Yeah.
Yeah. And now turkeys are rare over there. So do you spend a lot of time getting all the ingredients?
In the beginning, yes, because we had to, like you said, Julian, explain a little briefly why turkey's not, see it very often in France. Why is that?
Well, turkey meat by itself is not seen as a delicacy from a French perspective. So that's why you won't find actually turkey meat in the supermarket that easily. I mean, if you find it, it's only the breast.
Yeah,
the muscle part of it,
or it's sandwich meat, like turkey sandwich meat. But to get a fresh turkey, you really have to speak with your butcher, and they can make it work. But luckily, we have a great butcher that supplies our restaurant, and so they found some great turkeys for us to have. And so every year we have just the real deal, dark and white meat, the whole 9 yards. So yeah.
Well, if you guys are in Paris or anywhere abroad, make your way to Breakfast in America. Stay tuned because when we return, it is game time.
No!
Coffee. The liquid that helps us start our day or keeps us going at 2 p.m. when our keyboard pillow now comes calling. At Fire Department Coffee, we know how important it is to you that your coffee tastes great. Because let's face it, when you're choking down 8 to 10 cups of bean juice a day running back-to-back calls, or just trying to keep your wits together while your well-behaved children tug at every last strand of your sanity, we want to make sure that every last drop in your mug is the best coffee you've ever tasted.
Who are you talking to?
That's why at Fire Department Coffee, every stage of your order is watched after by carefully trained professional eyes, like our head roaster, retired fire captain Dave Dave! From our R&D department that's always striving to make sure that your next cup of Fire Department coffee is the perfect balance of wonderful taste and the caffeinated motivation that you need to get through your day.
There has got to be a better way of testing this.
Probably.
Making sure that you get your orders delivered to you as quickly and affordably as possible.
Hey, Doris, you know you're the only lady I hand deliver to.
Oh, thank you, Jason. I was wondering if you could help me. I think my cat is stuck in the attic again.
Are you sure he's up here, Doris? It's really hot. I can't see anything.
Oh, I'm sure he's still up there. Why don't you take off your shirt? You wouldn't want to overheat.
Not falling again for that, Doris. And at the end of the day, we're just thankful that we get to follow our passion of making high-quality coffee for thousands of hardworking people all across the world. So thank you for your support, and we look forward to making each and every one of your days better, one cup of coffee at a time.
Cut.
Woo! Good job, guys. Very nice. Smooth.
A lady named Doris just ordered a couple bags of coffee and asked for it to be delivered by her steamy ginger firefighter.
Oh, that lady is relentless.
Welcome back. It is game time. Craig and Julian, the first game we're going to play is Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader?
Oh boy, I hope so.
Are you guys ready?
Yeah, pressure.
It just keeps freezing. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, perfectly.
Okay. All right. All right, so the first question is, who invented the light bulb in 1879?
Is that Edison?
Yes, Thomas Edison. All right, the second one is, what are the first 10 amendments to the Constitution called?
The preamble? No, not the preamble. Preamble? No. Yeah, the preamble. No. The first 10 amendments?
Uh-huh.
I don't know. The first 10 amendments. I don't know.
The Bill of Rights.
Oh, no. Oh gosh. Yes, of course.
All right.
Problem in American history.
All right. The third one is, what is Rosa Parks most famous for?
Oh, for the bus. She refused to go to the back of the bus.
Yes. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
All right. Fourth one, who wrote the national anthem of the United States of America?
Francis Scott Key.
Yes. Ding, 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 ding. All right. And the last one, the French and Indian War, which began in 1754, became the North American theater of this worldwide war that lasted from 1756 to 1763.
It's not the French Indian War?
No, something else. It has a number in it.
100-Year War?
The 7-Year War.
No. 7-Year. I didn't hear the dates well.
You were close. Now we are going to play Trivia France Edition, and Julian can help out on this one.
Oh, thanks for that.
All right. The first one is, what is the capital of France?
Oh, that's an easy one.
I'll let you go.
Paris.
Yeah. All right. The second one, who was known for being a military leader during the French Revolution?
Lafayette?
No, his name starts with an N.
Not Napoleon.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Wow. I thought it was after the French Revolution. Okay. Sure.
What year did the French Revolution start?
Oh, that one we know very well. 1789.
Yes. Ding, ding, ding.
That one is a big date here.
All right. Which of the following food is not of French origin? Enclairs, souffle, ratatouille, currywurst.
Gosh, you would think that last one, currywurst, no?
Yeah.
Currywurst?
Yes.
Okay, that might have been a trick question. I'm like, maybe it's play.
All right, and the final question is, who is the current Prime Minister of France?
They just changed him. Oh no! We knew the guy before. It was Philippe.
Exactly, yeah. Who is it now?
Oops. Oh no! We're bad. He's very new.
Yeah.
So
I'm probably not going to pronounce his name right, but it's Jean Cassis.
Jean Casda.
There.
Yeah.
See, that's what you just do me every day. Correct my French.
Well, that concludes our game time. Craig and Julian, I want to thank you for being on Book Hour and joining us today. Before you go, Craig, are you writing more books or what's up next for you?
Well, actually, right now I'm trying to adapt the book into a TV series. I have a producer interested in optioning it. And so it's fun for us. A little game for us is imagining who will play us in the TV series. You know, and I imagine Bradley Cooper for me. And Julian?
I would play myself.
No fair. You're married, especially for kissing.
Now, is the series going to be on like everywhere, like even in America? Can we watch it?
Well, hopefully it'll be a streaming series, a Netflix type show. We're right now we're in the process of negotiating, so we'll see, and developing it. So it's a little ways off, but we're trying to find the angle to it. You know, will it be like a Cheers or Friends, or what kind of show would it be? You know?
Yeah. Well, we're gonna need to get Julian's autograph before he becomes super famous on this series.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Now, if viewers want to follow you guys on social media, where can they find you?
So yes, they can follow me on Craig Carlson Author on Facebook or Instagram, at Pancakes in Paris. Those are the two main sites. You can follow us, all the developments that are going on, including eventually, hopefully, this show and other things, TV series.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, you heard Craig. Go check him out now. All of their social media handles are in the description below. Craig and Julian, thank you so much for being on Book Hour. And for those watching, I hope you have a great day.
Au revoir. It was a pleasure meeting you all.
It was great meeting you all.